The Senate has just voted to remove health law defund language. Next up, the final vote to fund the government through November 15th. Megan Hughes joins us with all of this. Megan, what's the very latest, and how could this impact the tech sector?
Well, let's start with the very latest, because that's complicated. Now, we learned that they just got to the final vote. This is final passage of the House spending bill, but before this final passage, they made significant changes to the House spending bill. So, as you mentioned, they did vote to strip the language that would have defunded Obamacare, which was key for House Republicans. They also limited the amount of time that this would fund the government. So originally it was through the middle of December. Now it's through the middle of November. And that's what they're voting on now. So if this passes, Emily, then it goes back over to the House. House Speaker John Boehner has said he wouldn't pass what's called a clean version of the bill with the Obamacare language stripped from it. So the big question is what happens next over in the House. Government funding runs out on Monday night. Emily?
So, Megan, could this impact the IPO market? I mean, we're all talking about Twitter, which, recently filed to go public. Could Twitter be impacted?
Yeah, let's talk about the timeline here, because it is not good for Twitter. So we're talking about a potential government shutdown October 1st, potentially. Then we've also got the debt ceiling debate coming up on October 17th. So will these battles slow down the booming IPO market? Will that impact Twitter pricing into the market? So take some lessons from the last standoff. You had August 2011. Stock markets actually started to tumble 2 weeks before we were set to hit the borrowing limit. Then we had the budget battle, which led to those cross-the-board cuts, sequestration, then the credit downgrade. Stocks took a huge hit during that time. Between July 21st and August 10th, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 2,000 points, a 21% loss. Now, in response to all of that, the number of IPOs did plummet. Companies canceled or postponed $8.9 billion worth of IPOs in the third quarter. Now, I reached out to Twitter's Washington office to see if they're monitoring this, if there's concern. So far, Emily, I haven't heard anything back.
All right. Thanks, Megan. Markets aside, I mean, what can you tell us about the bigger picture here? What does it mean if the government shuts down next week?
Right. What does Tuesday look like? Well, the big talk in Washington, it's drawing the line between what's essential and what's not essential. So what's deemed non-essential? IRS personnel, for one, so tax refunds may not be processed. About half of the Defense Department would be on furlough. Park rangers, so some parks may close down. What stays? They're very concerned about the airline. So FAA air traffic controllers, TSA agents would keep working, so flights will go on schedule. Active military members, they'll stay on. National security, of course, still a priority. Mail delivery, that will go on. Social security checks, Medicare payments, those continue to go out. But in total, Emily, we're talking about 800,000 workers on furlough. It would certainly have an impact on the economy.